advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the top 100, and we are finally down to the second of the last video, the top 20 games. Do you want to start?
Sure.
We're getting to the really good games now, on my list anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so far it's been subpar, but I mean, someone has to like your games.
Right.
All right,
So
go.
my number 20 it goes hand in hand with what my 21 was.
I don't remember
what
which
my 21 was Barren Park.
Oh, okay.
There was 2 new games that came out, kind of not family weight, but you know, and Barren Park was one of them. The other one is Photosynthesis.
Oh, okay. You're a kid,
I
really
love
at
that game.
20?
I love that
Oh
game.
my god.
Yes. There's just, you know, as simple of a game as it is, mechanically, I feel, I mean, it's brain burning, I think. You have to really think ahead several moves to do stuff. Every time I've played it is...
No,
really,
I'm not saying it's a bad game.
know.
I don't think it's as brain burning as you think it is, but it could just be dependent on the group. I did see someone comment or do a question like, "Hey, I've seen a lot of people say that all you have to do is grab the middle and hold,
Yeah.
and then that's just your instant win." And I was like, I have a video. You can watch my photosynthesis runs where someone did that and it didn't work.
Right.
Like it's like, yeah, you'll get a token, and that's the only token you'll get because someone's immediately just going to take it over. So,
Right. It
wow.
also helps if you have the updated rule that you...
Dude, that's bullshit. So, blue-orange, like, fuck you and your shitty rule book that doesn't have everything.
I love orange games.
Huh?
I love all of them.
Don't get me wrong, their games are good. Their rule book for photosynthesis was completely, it's not like, it was like, hey, this doesn't really flow well. They omitted things where I was like, didn't say anything about that whenever I first played it. I think that game is really good. The production quality is awesome. I'm very burnt out on it because I played it 3 times in a row, at 2 players and 3 then 4. And I'm just like, oh, trees. I'm done. I'm like tired of you right now.
Well, and I think that's why, because like I've said before, every year there's always seems to be like 2 or 3 of this weight of game, like Barren Park, those kinds of stuff that I get every year, and it becomes like a quick rotation thing with my family.
Gotcha.
So, you know, we get Barren Park, Photosynthesis, and then whatever else pops in there, you know.
Wow, I can't believe it's at number 20.
Yeah, it's a blast.
All right. Well, my 20 is a game that was actually shown to me a while ago. It's chess, but better. No. Oni Tama.
Oh, okay.
Oni Tama
That's
is
gonna be
my
like
number
Duke.
20, and that is extremely high for a asymmetrical game. Like,
I still have never played it.
oh my, well, if it's like,
I want to.
yeah, if you like chess, because I hate chess actually, but whenever this was introduced to me, he was like, no, it's just streamlined, it's quicker, and there was just so much tactics and replayability to this game that I am just enamored with it. You just have, both people have 5 total pawns, one is a king, the other 2 are just the people, not the king, but, you know. And there are movement cards that each player has 2 of, and then there's 1 in the middle. So you have, each pawn can do 1 of your 2 movements, and then you're trying to either kill their king or put your king on their throne. And so whenever you play a card, you actually have to swap it out with the one that's left, and you just go back and forth with only 5 cards in the entire round, or in the entire game. And there's just you want to talk about brain burning. Like I sat here, like a typical game takes maybe 10-15 minutes. I sat there for 30 minutes because my friend and I were just staring at the board. Because you're not only trying to think of, okay, well, this is what I can do. It's, okay, what am I going to give him to do? And I've played games where I held onto a card the entire time, and I'm like, nope, I can't let you have this because it's so good. And then the one time I finally used it helped me win.
Right.
So, Oni Tama, and they just came out with a small expansion, more 16 cards that... there is just so much to this small game, and the production is like, it's pretty cool. It's in a weird long box, but it has those, what do they call it? Is that neoprene, Matt? Is that what is like, not the mouse pad type?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It comes with that. So, yeah, all the way up to 20. I'll play this anytime. So that is that.
Dude, that was on like one of your, was that your number 1 on your...
That was my number
games?
2 for my top 10
2
2-player games. Yeah, barely got beat out by another game. So,
yeah. All right. Number 19 is, I don't think you've ever played it, Game of Thrones LCG.
nope.
Okay.
No.
Second edition.
Try and stay away from LCGs as
Second
much as
edition.
possible.
Well, and that's why I don't own this anymore.
Didn't you just get rid of it?
Yeah, because
That's what I
nobody around here plays it.
Yeah.
Like I'd have to go to Springfield to find anybody that would play the game.
There's like one guy. He's
right,
like, is there anyone
but
here?
You can play it online.
Okay.
So that's what I do, kind of like with Netrunner and stuff.
Mm.
But pretty much you are picking one of your big houses. The difference between first edition and second edition, though, is you can have a banner with your deal. So you can be like the Starks and have the, as weird as it would be, the Lannisters banner. So that means you have to put a certain
And
number
you
of
lose,
Lannister
you
cards.
kill your own deck.
And you have to put that many of that faction into your deck. You know, so it's kind of a way to extra deck build. You could also just do fealty, which means it's just strictly all your faction and neutral cards, but you get a benefit when you're the first person you marshal out. Each turn is cheaper. If you're on fealty, that's kind of the benefit.
Do you find it balances if I were to build a deck with a mix of houses and you only stuck with one house, would that balance out?
It just depends on your play style.
I see.
I usually will do fealty.
Okay.
I was a Greyjoy. Fealty is
Really?
what I did all the time, just because that fits my play style. The aggressive, kick your ass.
The Greyjoys?
Well, and it's ships. Like, there's a lot of
I was
ship
like,
cards.
I'm pretty sure they lose every time.
And you know, they do a good job with all the houses and stuff, and they've put out a big box for every faction.
That's
pretty
cool.
much. I think there's still 2, but I quit buying after the whole first cycle just because nobody else was playing.
Yeah.
The good thing about this LCG that's different from others, though, is it has the joust mode, which is head-to-head, and then it has melee, which you can play up to 4 people.
Oh, okay.
So then the first edition did that as well, but second edition is better with it because there was jobs you could have, like there was the Hand of the King, the Treasure, whatever, and you randomly drew, and then some of them would be like natural allies with some, so you couldn't do anything to them, whatever. You were still playing to the power points that you went to and stuff.
Cool.
It's a great game, really thematic as far as the cards they come out with. It's just,
all right.
you know, there's a couple other LCGs that I liked better, and
Yeah, interesting.
So.
But because obviously Netrunners are way higher on your list.
maybe.
Man, if that's out, I will be so surprised. But you've already said Arkham Horror.
Right.
LCG.
See, and I think
And
Arkham would probably be higher than this now
because
obviously. Cause
you still have the Arkham. Fair enough.
Because it's solo. You can play it solo and co-op.
Oh, you can.
And
Right.
this one's
right.
not, there's no solo on this at all. So that
Does kind of. They did. Fantasy Flight did a really good job at making Arkham Horror an actual.
I made this list before I sold that too.
That's true. All right. So my 19 is a hidden movement game. In my opinion, the best hidden movement game.
Yeah. I can't think of the Whitechapel.
Yes, Leathers from Whitechapel.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I
Fury
knew
of
you liked
Dracula maybe higher, but still, I think that as a hidden movement game, Leathers from Whitechapel does it best. Really.
Yep.
So, one, I really like the theme. I'm enamored with like Jack the Ripper. He's actually a role model. Okay, to be messed up.
Here, I'll just back up.
Yeah. What? That's like it. Just you can just see the subscribers going down. No. So one person plays Jack. And is trying to hide from the police while everyone else plays the policeman. And yeah, the board just has a set of numbers that Jack writes down secretly on where he's moving, trying to make it to his hideout that he chose at the beginning of the game. There's just something, because I know a lot of people like really don't actually care for this game, and mainly the theme probably just turns them off on it. But I just feel like that there is a balance to the hidden movement, whereas Spectre Ops, for example, it's like, oh, what's the point of hiding? Because you have every ability that makes that obsolete. Whereas this one, it is a cat and mouse hunt the entire time. Whereas if the players are doing really well, it's just like it makes it extremely stressful for Jack to continue to hide. And I think the theme really does come out. And I've had multiple cases where I've tried to hide and everyone's like, yep, this is the exact route he's taken. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you, are you in my mind?
So I have a question regarding that game, because my wife loves that kind of like serial killer stuff, that kind of stuff, stuff like that. She has showed interest in that game. I don't know about the girls. Would you be able to play 2 players successfully with that?
Yes, you can, because
One
what
person
happens,
Jack and then
one person plays Jack, and no matter how many players you have, there are always 5 investigators.
Okay, so then one
So
person
you
would
just control
5.
all 5, yep.
Okay. Does that diminish from the person playing Jack, though? I mean, because
So normally,
you have one person doing all the thinking, where you have
right,
3 or
right.
4.
It honestly, it depends, because I actually think it's more difficult to have more people, because if you, like, what helps Jack is the table talk, is you sit there and Jack knows what everyone's saying and can plan accordingly. So if it's you and like 2 other investigators, you guys are, so one person can be spot on the entire time and be like, no, this is what he's doing, and you can be like, no, I don't think so, and throw it off, and then that person who was right can be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense too, and then Jack's just like, yes, be more wrong.
Yeah.
So I think it would be more strategic, and your wife might actually be more into it if she's not having to, fuck with other people. Be like, no, shut up, and let me just, so she just controls all 5. It's going to be harder on you, because she has no one to talk to, so you don't know what she's thinking.
Right, exactly.
But I think...
That's what I was wondering, that's what I was meaning.
Okay,
about
okay.
Yeah, that's one I definitely have on my
So,
list.
I mean, and here's the thing, like, the theme doesn't come absolutely, you're not, like, murdering people, and it's so with your girls, they could probably play it too, and...
Oh, I'm not saying, they just don't like that theme as well. I mean, they may want to play it, I don't know.
I really like it. Spectre Ops is not on my list. I actually really dislike that game. But yeah, that is 19, Letters from Whitechapel.
All right, my number 18 is a game that was out of print for a very long time. Came back into print
Runebound?
this year.
Oh, this year?
Kickstarter. And it got put back in this year.
You're going to have to tell me, because I can't remember.
Coliseum.
Oh, okay. That came out through Kickstarter?
Yep, that's how I got.
Okay.
So, it was TMG. Kickstarter. This game, I had never played the old Days of Wonder version. It was always kind of like a grail game of mine, and it was always over $100 for it. And I almost pulled the trigger a few times, didn't pull the trigger, and then I saw the Kickstarter was coming, so that's when I jumped on. The graphics are different. I don't mind. Some people don't like the art of the new one as much as the old one.
It does kind of look
I think
more
it's fine.
cartoony.
Yeah, but I mean, pretty much what the theme of Coliseum is, if you don't know, is each player is controlling a person putting on shows. That's pretty much what it is, and you're trying to put on the best show over a 3 or 4 year period or something like that. So you're doing. You're building shows with stuff. You're gaining different tokens for odds and ends. There's kind of like a betting system and stuff like that to try to get stuff. And the unique thing with the scoring system is is like the first round you may score 18 points for your show, but that stays there. So if the next round you score 9 points in a show, then you stay at 18. It only tracks the best show over the game.
I think you had told me that, and that sounds really cool, because it's like, well, yeah, who gives a shit about your other shows? It wasn't as good as the one, epic that you just...
Right. So if you can do it right, and it's difficult, but if you can do it right where, everybody else may be putting on these mediocre shows, but you have this badass, deal at the end and score 100 points, I mean, you can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's a really...
So do you feel like...
an elegant game.
I feel like with that kind of score mechanism, it's like, so you do one really good show at, let's just say, 20 points. Do you feel like that the rest of the game is just kind of like, like you're apathetic almost, because you're like, I'll never beat that, that was the best I can do?
No, you build up. I mean, you want to be finishing shows. You don't want to just sit back and wait for the big one, because finishing shows gives you money.
Oh, okay.
And gives you abilities to get more stuff, and stuff. I mean, so you really need to take the steps.
I see.
So, you never know who's going to pull it off.
Gotcha.
I mean, I shouldn't say never, because sometimes if you're just playing with somebody that's got the right hand, and has won the right auctions and all that stuff. But I'm glad that it was one that I waited for and got it. It's really good. It even has a roll and move aspect, which is weird.
Really?
But it's not. It's just the teeniest part of the game.
Kind of there.
It's just what moves because you have there's a track that goes around, because you'll have your little Coliseum down, and you'll actually get to build it up.
Oh, that's nice.
Throughout times you can build it up, put grandstands in, and podiums, all this different stuff. But there's a Emperor, there's 2 other figures out there, and they're on this track. So when it's your turn, you roll the dice, and you can move them, and you want to try to get one of them into your show, because if when you put on your show, it's worth more points.
Okay.
And stuff like that. It's a game. It looks daunting when you sit and look at it, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
Once you get it down, and it's a great game.
Okay.
It's definitely one you need to try.
Yes, it is. I think that needs to be added to the list. Yeah. All right, my 18 is. I can't remember if you've already said this one, but it is the better Ryan Lockett game, Above and Below, which I don't know either. I know Near and Far. It's
definitely on my list somewhere. If I
Near and Far made the list, and Above and Below. A lot of people are saying Near and Far beats out Above and Below. I don't think so.
No.
I think Above and Below does, the game better. Near and Far does the storytelling better, but Above and Below still has that kind of really cool effect of you're building your cities up on top, or your buildings up on top, and to have adventures and stuff like that is whenever you go into the underground, the below part, and you try and have encounters in there. And I felt that the actions were also pretty meaningful. And you can kind of deduce what you're kind of wanting to get, and then whenever you get, your below buildings, those are also really good to have, as well as, the encounters that you have. And then there's the Near and Far just kind of bugged me with the campaign so much that, like, it would have been better as a one-off, which I guess you can do. And that's what Above and Below is. You get that same feel, that same, here's my now town, that I've had these memorable experiences, and I'm not, hey, you did better than me, that's great. And then that's the end of it. You don't have to try and finagle your way to make yourself better each time. You just have that one and done system, and it's also extremely short. And I don't know, it worked better for me.
Some people try to shoehorn campaign into games.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
With, hey, every game has to have a campaign. It's like, why can't we just play it?
That's like, that to me is probably still his most elegant, perfect setup.
Because even with the expansion, which luckily I got from the Near and Far Kickstarter, is the Desert Labyrinth, and I think the other one's the Jungle, which is just more stories that are written there. And then Above and Below is just, I think it's also extremely streamlined. You have all your people that are just your workers. They're not part of different factions or anything. You just have them, you send them off, and then you have dice mitigation as well to have an encounter, and then you have your choice-based encounter, and then you just get your stuff, and then it just flows. Like,
it's perfect.
So
if I had one complaint about that game, and it's just nitpicky, is I wish there was a better conclusions to the stories.
Oh yeah,
which I know is a lot more writing and
right.
That it's like, if you do this, you do this. If you do this, you get nothing, and you do that thing, but then you just get a food and a
right. You just get your thing, and then that's that.
Right. I mean, and like I said, that's nitpicking. It's not.
It really, I think, because Near and Far does that.
Right.
Has that conclusion, which is why I said the storytelling aspect of Near and Far is better, but I think the game for Above and Below is better than Near and Far. So you could have that, but then I think it would make the game a little bit more clunky.
Right.
So all the way up at 18, like I think it's like 50 spots above Near and Far.
Yeah.
So that's my 18.
My 17, I don't think you've played, and you're probably going to want to play it.
I have.
I
don't know where you're 17.
Spartacus, A Game of Blood and Treachery.
Oh yeah! I forgot about that one.
This game, I mean, there's a lot of people that hate on this game.
It's because the show.
Don't worry about the show. I didn't mind the show. But
yeah, because it was some Roman porn. Well, is the wife home? No, time to watch Spartacus.
It was just. I like historical shows like that, so that was one of the things I liked. And then all the tits and ass were just
it was just
extra.
A bonus.
But anyway, the game though, if you've not played the game, I don't think I can think of any games that have had that end of the game where everybody's standing up cheering for the last die roll.
Really?
As many times, 3 or 4 times with this game where it comes down to the last arena battle, and somebody has to do the dice, and no matter whatever is rolled will decide who wins the game. I mean, now there's our games where it's just a runaway for people, because pretty much what happens is you're trying to play to a certain amount of influence. I can't think of the dominator or whatever, whoever you're controlling. I can't think of it right now, but there's a certain amount of influence you have to get to win.
Okay.
So everybody can see that, and they know. So it's got that pylon, almost kind of like Inish, kind of like you say,
where
okay,
it's
well,
like,
he's
hey,
about to win. He's about to win, so you can go in, and there's cards that'll screw them over.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So you want to. It's a challenge that way, but that's why there's hardly any runaway.
Oh yeah, because everyone just gangs up on them.
Right, but it's done in a fun way. There's a lot of games where that happens, where it just turns into a slog.
Yeah.
But this is so fun. I mean, because you get the very last part of the round is throwing some gladiators out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can gamble on what you think is going to happen. You can say,
Oh,
okay, he's going to get injured. You get this much of a payout, or he's going to be decapitated. You get this payout, and whoever puts on the show, because you have to. There's a gambling thing to see which of the Dominuses are actually putting on the show.
Okay.
And they get
income as well,
influence and stuff for being the deal and stuff, and then they get to choose.
Like
there's a deal that can be like decapitation, or
live or
whatever.
die.
Right. It's just.
Did you have Coliseum? Was Coliseum your 18? And then Spartacus was your 17?
Yes.
That's funny.
That was just coincidental. But
because Coliseum, there's no gladiator fights, right?
No, it's all just put on a show.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's also
this is a Euro game. This is Ameritrash to the fullest.
Yeah. Okay.
But I have one of the 2 expansions. I need to get the other one. I just haven't played it much lately because it's hard to get to the table.
Gale Force 9. Why do you think they did Sparta? Why do you think they could have made the game and not steal the license from that?
Well, they've used the game with another theme. It was X-Men School of whatever. It's you need to look up Gale Force. It's X-Men something. It's an X-Men theme where it's the school, like training grounds or something like that. And but I played it and it wasn't.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's just cool
same.
Because you're getting weapons for your gladiators.
Right.
You're going out and there's blood. And
so do you
cards
build
are all
like
gory
a pool of your slaves pretty much?
Well, there's a auction phase where you're auctioning for weapons or slaves or guards, because you have guards that you can use to block stuff that are coming at you.
Okay.
But no, you're using your like your women slaves or men slaves are kind of like, if you watch the show, they're kind of like used quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So you tap them, you use them to gain $1, or so there's a lot of slave. I mean, so if you watch this, but if you didn't watch the show, it's still it works, and it's still just that coming down to the big fist of dice just to see what happens. Because really quick, not to drag on too long, when you battle somebody, your card will say, let's say it's 4 red, 5 black, 3 blue.
Okay.
Those are the dice you start off with. And every time you lose a battle and you go, you lose a dice.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you take wounds. So then you roll again, you move around to your battle.
So
if you lose dice. Yeah, and then and if you ever take more damage than you have dice, then
your character dies. Interesting.
So I mean, it's a blast though.
No one ever talks about the game. Yeah. But those who do only say good things.
Yeah, it's just a.
It sounds like
it's Ameritrash.
Sounds like it'd be right up my alley. All right, so my 17 is, this was way higher on your list, but my 17 is Adrenaline. So this game just is absolutely fantastic. Whenever, like, there are those games that's like they try to like Alien Artifacts, for example, was like, hey, 4X game within an hour or something like that. This one is a first-person shooter as a board game, and the way that the combat works and the way that the game works is just extremely fast-paced. It's simple to actually, because there's icons, but they're pretty much self-explanatory.
And you have a little rulebook.
And you have that you can just be like, oh, okay, that's what that does, and that's what that does. But no, each person that you've already talked about this, but each person has their own fighter that they can do, and then they're just running around grabbing all these weapons, all these unique weapons that do multiple things, to just try and kill each other. And then I think it's really cool because it's not just roll dice, oh, I did more damage than you have health, you're dead. It's, oh, I did 5 damage and I take 5 of my tokens. Right. And you're trying to see who does the most damage. So it shares that, assist or kill kind of thing.
Right.
And then once they die, they immediately come back. But they come back, with less points.
Worth less.
Yeah, they're worth less. So it's like, okay, well, which is a nice, I think, catch-up mechanic, because it's not like, oh, I'm worthless, so they're going to leave me alone, but now I can try and kill some people.
Okay.
And I don't know, the unique aspects of these weapons are just so fun. And yeah, I think my only complaint was I just wish there were different
More
maps.
maps. Yeah, that's why.
Not just the one board. And I don't know. I think it works really, really well. Like, there's no luck to this game.
Right. It would be
awesome.
It would be higher up on my list, but I've only played it like 3 times.
I gotcha.
I won't ever get a game like that played at home. I don't own it because
Right.
tons of other people do. And
Right.
if I played it more, it would definitely be higher.
Yeah. Nope. I am enamored with it, so that is my 17.
All right. My number 16 has already been talked about today.
Today, you're kidding. Is it above and below?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Above and Below is my 16. There really isn't much more to say about it. Great game. It's his best game.
Don't get me wrong, Ryan Lockett does great games.
Yeah,
Near and Far,
yeah.
man, I just, not to go back on Near and Far again, because I did already talk about it, and I think you did
Yeah,
too.
I did too. It was like 4 or
But
something for me.
I just really wish I never did that campaign. I think
Yeah.
I think it would be higher than Above and Below if because that first game of Near and Far was awesome.
Right.
And it just went downhill from there.
I didn't like it as much as this because I like games where you actually. The cool thing about Above and Below is you put your buildings
Mm-hmm.
next to each other. You put your things underneath next, so it's like you're actually
Building
creating
your town.
Your town.
Yeah, I guess
you
that's
know?
true. Near and Far was just,
And
I
it's
went
just like
on
you're
this
traveling,
map.
you're
Yeah.
doing, and stuff.
Okay,
So,
fair enough.
and I think that's another reason this one just was better.
I really agree
because
with that, yeah.
At the end of the game, you actually can see what you've done instead
Yeah.
of, oh look, I have 5, 6
Right.
tents out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. I will say though that kind of what you were talking about with Above and Below, that you wish there was a kind of a better conclusion.
Right.
With Near and Far, they did have the the keywords or the side quest, which is just awesome.
I think
But
they need to do another expansion.
expansion to that, I don't think you will,
I don't think they will either, but
because they already did the desert one, which is like a whole nother book.
right.
So okay, well that was quick. My 16. Okay, so actually really close within each other. It is another hidden movement game. It's actually out of print, but they're about to. Fury of Dracula 3rd edition. So I mentioned that Letters from Whitechapel is a better hidden movement game. I still stand by that, but Fury of Dracula is a better game overall. So with Fury,
I haven't played that one either.
have you only
Hidden movement.
Okay,
games.
I was like, have you
hardly
played any hidden
I haven't
movement?
played any.
Okay,
hidden movement games
so
really.
Fury of Dracula, if you don't know, first of all, it sucks because I think it's out of print, but it's about to make a comeback. Someone is picking up the rights. WizKids, thank you. So it's probably going to be not as good.
Oh, Lord, what a quality.
Yeah.
Droopy stabs.
So Fury of Dracula is Bram Stoker's Dracula as a game, and oh my god, is it intense the entire time. Like Letters from Whitechapel, but still, just for when you're playing Dracula, because I've played both, because I was like, whenever I'm Dracula, I'm like, this is so unbalanced, there's no way that they win. And then I was like, we played it again, and I was like, well, let me be one of the investigators. So I jumped in and I was like, okay, this is so unbalanced, there's no way Dracula's gonna win.
Right.
You just have to have that person or those people playing that can be like, no, you can't be everywhere. Let's, think about where your possibilities are and using abilities to your benefit. So, as Dracula, you have a track of location cards, and you have a deck of so you can choose, but you can't just randomly appear out of nowhere. But you have a deck, so you start out anywhere, just like Letters from Whitechapel, you pick a number, and then you have that card face down. Now, whenever it's your turn to move, you choose an adjacent location, place that down, and your track slides. So you can never backtrack until you go through your 6 cards, and that one falls off.
Gotcha.
Then it goes back into the deck. So there's ways for them to find out, hey, this is the trail, like, okay, you've been here. So since we know you've been there, where can you possibly be? So there's that. Standard, really hidden movement. But what's really cool about this is each investigator has an ability that, one just has an influx of supplies that, hey, he can distribute out. There's the one who, oh man, it's actually been a while because I never play the investigators. There is one who, he can handle multiple bites, so which helps when Dracula's trying to fight. Then you have Mina, whose ability is not used as often as like you should, because if she's with another investigator, she can ask Dracula if he's in a region.
Oh yeah.
And that's how you need to do that almost from the get-go, I would say, because once you do that, you cut off half the board. You're like, are you in this area? No? Ignore that, and then now it's fun trying to figure out where he's at. So it is just, I wouldn't say it's streamlined, because this is a, pretty, it's not Mary Trashy, but it's a lot of fiddly rules that you kind of have to remember. But man, it is just epic the entire time. Unfortunately, I don't think you would ever get this one, because it will always be a long game. Like, there's no way to make it shorter. It's either Dracula has to get up to 13 influence, or whatever it's called, to win the game, or they find Dracula and kill him, but Dracula can heal himself and stuff like that. So it's like, my run through is about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Since I've done it. Too. So, but that entire 4 hours, it is intense. And they have a day and night cycle where is like all the investigators pretty much do their stuff during the day, but if they're in certain areas at night, they can do stuff. But that's when Dracula can do his thing. And what I like this better than Letters from Whitechapel is Letters from Whitechapel, Jack is just he's always running. He doesn't do anything else except run to try and get back. Fear of Dracula is like, yeah, Dracula can run the entire time, but then there's going to be moments where he can be like, ha-ha, and then attack, and then you fight.
Right.
So it's awesome. If you can find it, get it. Get 3rd edition, because it's better. And then I guess maybe if not, wait for WizKids to put it out it might be cheaper. But it's
might be decent. They're kind of on the uptick right now.
They are doing better.
They're getting the Games Workshop stuff. That's why
they are. That's right.
So they're going to be getting all that stuff. So you just never know.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately. So that is my 16.
All right. My number 15
has already been mentioned.
No, it actually, I don't think it has. I don't know if you've played it, but this is one of my favorite football games.
Blood Bowl?
Yeah.
I was like the only football game?
Blood Bowl Team Manager, though. It's the card game.
Okay.
It's not the actual...
Not the board game where you roll a die. Like, oh, he fell. I guess my turn.
This one still has die. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, this one, it's a card game version of Blood Bowl. I have everything for it. It's another one of those that's out of print now because of Games Workshop leaving.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It plays...
On side note, that didn't really affect anything as much as I thought it would.
Right.
That Games Workshop Fantasy Flight
right.
hate each other, whatever. Because I remember I did a video talking about that, and I was like, oh, that's going to affect a lot. No, it didn't really do anything.
Not a ton.
All right, anyway, sorry. Blood Bowl Team Manager.
But, so you pick a team, that works, chaos, humans, whatever. You have your basic starting deck, and there's, it almost is, almost like, think of Smash Up. There's going to be things out in the middle, but only 2 people can be going at each highlight. And you win fans or victory points in this game.
Okay.
So you have a little tracker, a spinning tracker thing for fans, and that's how you'll win. So you're putting out football players that have different abilities on these different highlights, and then once everybody's placed all their people, and you can tackle their symbols. There's a tackle symbol, so if you're trying to tackle one of their people, you roll a dice. If it has the right symbol, they flip over and are worth less.
Oh, okay.
If you hit him when their card's tapped, then he's injured. Now
he's dead.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then after everybody's placed their stuff, everything's resolved, then you go to each highlight and score it out. The winner gets what they get. It could be more cards, like team upgrades, staff upgrades. You can even get star players. There's a deck depending on what you do.
They have the star players.
So you take the star players, which is these big badasses that you incorporate into your deck then.
Right.
And then you play, I think, 5 bowls, because there's different bowls, and the last one is the Blood Bowl.
Ah, okay.
And then whoever has the most fans at the very end
wins. The winner.
There's the really cool thing about this, though, is there's a lot of characters, and when you put them out, they do their ability, but then there's a skull icon, which is the cheat icon. So you have this whole pile of skulls that you have face down, and assume whenever they cheat, you just put it face down on there. So some people may have 4 tokens on them by the time it's over, and then before any scoring is resolved, you have to flip those over.
Okay.
It can make them stronger. Worth more points, because pretty much it's head to head. Whoever has the most strength there wins. So it may give more strength, It may give them fans. It may eject them. If it's a whistle, they're kicked out, and they just have to leave the whole deal. So it's a risk.
Yeah.
The cheat tokens. You know. And it's just a blast. And Chad and I found a place and a file that I had us each printed off a neoprene mat that somebody had created. That's a whole Blood Bowl mat. It has all the spots for the highlights and everything. It's really neat looking.
Yeah.
And we actually just played it a couple weeks ago and played a 4-player game, and I kicked all their ass.
I was the better team.
But no, it's a blast though. I mean,
is it like all luck, like the first blood, like the actual board game?
Well, there's dice.
Yeah, fair enough. All right,
dice. That says enough.
Yeah,
that's why.
Well, there's die. That fucking not that game, but the other one, the actual board game, where if they fall over, as soon as that happened, I'd be like, I'm done. I can't do that.
That was on my stupid rules.
Yeah, it was. All right, my 15 is it's not hidden movement, but it is hidden roll and trader mechanic. And if anything's higher than this, I'll be surprised.
Is that a winner?
No, it's the best. It's the better trader mechanic, all based off a really good show.
Battlestar.
Battlestar Galactica.
That's still that high.
Dude, okay. So
I love it.
Caveat on this is that I played this before I started watching the show, and to show how good of a job they did bringing the theme out, I was able to when I started watching, I was like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's who that is. Like I knew about the show from the game, so I just had to talk about that.
Yeah, it got me to watch the show.
Yeah,
because I played it
right.
first.
I was like, man, this game is really cool. I've heard a lot about this show. Let's check it out. And I haven't watched it in a while. But I think I'm like a season in, and it's really good. So, if you don't know, Battlestar Galactica is you are humans on the Galactica trying to find your. It's not Earth. Well, yeah, that's what it becomes. You're trying to find Earth, and because humanity and bad stuff, Cylon destroyed, and then now. They were gone, and now Earth was a myth. So you have this this tug of war where now Cylons are no longer just these robotic beings; they can now mimic and become other people. So from the very first turn, you already hate everyone you're playing with. It brings in that actual feel of I can't trust anyone I'm playing with. Just like you would in the show or something. And this game is long, and there's a bunch to it. They came up with 3 expansions
that's what I was going to say. Yeah. The best way to play this game is base box. Maybe one of the expansions.
You have to, I think you use the Pegasus to have but
don't play with all of them.
No. Oh my God! Here's how clunky it can get with all the expansions. They came out. There's a forum, not a forum, a PDF where someone took all the rulebooks and put them together and color coordinated. I printed that off, and it's laminated, and it's all there. It's awesome. It's a very well constructed thing if you were to try, because it's like setup. Here's how you do it. Oh, and here's green. Green means it's Pegasus. So if you want to do that, just so much stuff. Base box, 1 expansion. And then they each change, the way that the game's played. I think the Pegasus adds the plastic base stars.
And it adds the other ship too.
It also adds another ship. Actually, there's another one that adds a third ship.
Yeah.
But I usually play with all those ships, and I don't do New Caprica.
Yeah,
I don't like that one. I pretty much do the Earth.
Yeah.
But no, this game is you have your own person and you have your own role, and while you're playing the game, everyone has their own role card, and then once you get halfway through, once you do, I can't remember, 8 jumps or something, once you get to 4, you have to. There's another deck that you deal out.
Somebody could be a Cylon right off the bat.
Yes, that's true. Someone could be a Cylon.
Somebody could. There might not be.
Yeah, but there is a chance that
there will be after the second one.
Yes, that's what I was getting to. Was the entire time you already don't trust anyone, but you could have hope that maybe no one's a Cylon right now, and that's a nice feeling. And then once you get halfway through the jumps to different planets and stuff, you deal out another role card, and then so you could all of a sudden be a Cylon now. And now you have to just completely change on the dime. So once that happens, even if you did trust everyone, now you for sure as shit don't trust anyone. So there's that. Then you have just the way that the game works. I really like. You just go to different spots on the ship and do that action. and there's a bunch of risk reward. Like, hey, if you want to do the faster than light jump, but you're not quite prepped to do it, you could you can risk it.
My favorite mechanic of that game, and tell me if this is the votes. Are you going to talk about that?
Yes, that's actually what I was about to go to. Okay, so there are, well, kind of, sort of. What I was going to say was there are 4 dials that you have to manage. You know, population, food, other things that I can't remember right now.
There was fuel.
Fuel was another one, and then there's a 4th one.
Like morale.
Morale, yes, thank you. So those 4 dials that you have to manage. If any one of those ever hits 0, you lose. So how that gets affected and stuff like that is there is a vote to do an event. And sometimes it's dependent on, hey, if you're the president, you decide.
Yeah.
And so that can be like you're sitting there and someone's the president, like Brad's the president, and I'm like, okay, he obviously he needs to do that one. And then you could not be a Cylon and choose the other one, and it's like, why?
Right.
Why, you piece of shit? It's like, no, dude, I swear to God, I'm not. It's like, I just think. So, whenever you're betting, there's a deck of cards that everyone also has their hand of cards that they throw into a pile, and then one or more from this deck gets added to that vote pile. That all gets shuffled and then revealed, and you have a certain
number. You need a certain number of that color
to succeed, and then the other color pulls away from it.
Right.
And whenever you do that, that in and of itself is brilliant because it's an outside source. So if everyone voted for it, but that one card from that deck is against it, you don't know who threw it in, so you already don't trust each other.
Yeah,
so you're like, I know it's you. I remember one time playing this game that it was a huge game. We had 6 people playing. I ordered pizza, and everyone, and maybe an hour in, my friend starts stress eating. He's like getting up and walking around just eating, and he's like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, Corey Konecki did a great job on that one because he's the designer.
He's the designer. Yeah, it's just awesome.
Beware with games like this though, and could be said with any of these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
This one is so long that if somebody gives away.
Oh yeah.
Now, but that is a benefit to this too, because in a lot of hidden trader games, if they give away that they're the trader, then the game might as well be over.
Right.
This game, Cylons can still do stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you can play with revealed Cylons.
Right. You can play with that. Then if they get airlocked, then they pop back in.
Yeah. So
stuff. I mean,
it does benefit.
There isn't player elimination really on this game as much.
Not really.
Because people just pop in as other characters.
Yes, other characters. Yeah, there's also ways that, because they also, I wouldn't say just get the base game. The expansions are worth having, but you don't throw everything in. Because in the expansion it adds sympathetic Cylons, which if I'm not mistaken, I think there were 7 Cylons that sided with the humans, and that can be your role. And there are effects and stuff that will allow you to look at someone's role, and if they look at that one, it's like extremely bad. That, hey, if someone pulls this, they immediately die or something. And it's like, oh my god. So that's Battlestar Galactica. I've talked about it enough.
It's a good one.
It's awesome.
It's not on my top just because it would be. It's just too long.
It is very long.
I played it so much back in the day that I kind of got burnt out on it.
I don't blame you. I can't handle the stress. So yeah, that's my 15.
All right, my 14 is one that you don't care for until you use the expansion.
Oh, Seven Wonders Duel?
Yes, it's Seven Wonders Duel.
It's disgusting at 14. Your list is trash now.
Just wait.
Let's wait till Komet's my number
1. Seven Wonders Duel is, I've talked about in other lists before, if you watched them, it's the 2-player version of Seven Wonders. It is
can't even call it the same game.
Card drafting done in a unique way because the cards are put up in different formations, and you grab the card, and then if one uncovers and it flips over, and you're building your wonders, doing different odds and ends. Now, base game was great. It would get stale after a while, and then they came out with the Pantheon expansion, which ramps it up to 11, or 14, I guess. It adds a board that goes across the top, and it has the god cards, and there's a whole drafting deal with those. Then they go along the top, and you can actually pay for them to use their powers, and it just makes it so much more more decisions. And
Yeah.
your biggest complaint of people just ditching cards
Just be
for
like,
money,
just to sit there and be like,
It
oh,
doesn't-
hey, there's a military that you need.
that
No.
does not work though. On
Yeah.
that, because you actually put out, there's chits that you'll put out in the formation. So if they're just buying crap and getting rid of it, then that's going to become available, and then that makes it cheaper,
Oh,
a lot
okay.
cheaper, significantly cheaper a lot of times to
Mhm.
buy those gods. And those
Okay.
gods are uber powerful.
Are they?
I mean, like big time.
Yeah.
They can do mega stuff.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like very overpowered, every one of them. And so if you have somebody just ditching cards for money, you're going to be the one gaining all those dang
All the
tokens, and you're going to be able to use the god power to
Yeah.
just be able just to whoop their
Yeah,
ass.
I think.
you know?
Yeah, I think I really need to.
You need to, big time,
play it
'cause-
with that.
Because I will never play it without it.
Right.
Like, Pantheon it just makes it
Just you
a
have to
ton
have it.
better. Yes.
It's a shame though, because I still hold on to the mentality that a game should be good enough on its own. For me, Seven Wonders Duel was not good enough on its own, but who knows? Like, if the Pantheon expansion is as good as you say it
Yes.
is, then
Duel would have been a top 30 for me without the
Really?
expansion even. Just
Yeah,
because it's
nowhere near.
Seven Wonders is my wife's favorite game of all time.
Okay.
We can't, the 2-player variant of regular Seven Wonders sucks.
I like it.
And this fixed that.
I like Seven Wonders.
And I just hate
I would
bots
I would
like
say
that.
Seven Wonders Duel is better than the 2-player variant.
Right, that's
of
what I'm saying.
Seven Wonders.
So when this came out, it was like an automatic.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
played the crap out of this game.
Really?
You
What
know,
does she
it's-
think of the Pantheon expansion?
She loved it. I mean, she loved it. She would sit there and play this 10 times in a row before
Really?
the Pantheon even came out. And
Okay.
that's why I was like, please come out with this expansion, because it does. You see pretty much most of the cards.
Oh yeah.
So then you get the Pantheon expansion. It adds those gods, and it just changes the game
Okay.
so much.
How many gods come with it?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think how many go on the wheel.
It's not one of those things where you put
Five
all
or
of
six
them out,
no,
right?
No,
Okay.
No. There's because you do a drafting thing.
Oh, that's right. You,
So-
you did say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not awesome. But I have. Oh yeah. So this one I think you might think is higher on my list. It is. It used to be one of my favorite games. It was actually not counting Descent, because Descent was technically the first gamer game I bought. It was the second game that got me into the hobby, which
I don't know
is
what that is.
Arkham Horror.
Oh, I was gonna say the other one.
Arkham
Oh,
Horror
Talisman.
is no, technically yes, Talisman is the second game I bought, but I dismissed Descent because it's shit.
Yeah.
Arkham Horror is such a fantastic game. Once again, kind of like Battlestar, where don't combine all the expansions. This was around, actually they came out, I feel like around the same time, the era where all they did was release
Yeah,
big
it
box
was.
expansions, which just had a bunch of content. Arkham Horror is no different. It has, oh man, I could do a top 10 Arkham Horror expansions, because there's like 6 little box on top of 5 big box. Actually, I think 3, just Kingsport, Dunwich, and Innsmouth. I have played Arkham Horror with all the expansions, and that was going to be my run through until it took 6 hours and we messed up at the very end, and my friend kept falling asleep. So I'm just like, I'm just going to scrap it.
Yeah.
Arkham Horror is the epitome of H.P. Lovecraft. Like Eldritch may be more streamlined, but no, Arkham Horror
like the
is
LCG.
way better than the LCG, like by far, by far. Only because just grand scope of things, like
Yeah.
you put more theme into.
I was gonna say you can get a lot more LCG games than.
That's true.
Time that
You
goes,
can,
I mean, it's-
but you're not going to get that same epic feel
No,
of Arkham Horror. So anyway, you're one of the investigators in Arkham. I'm just going to talk about base game, and you do pretty much what every other Cthulhu game is. You go from location to location, trying to get enough trying to get enough skills to be able to go through gates and then close gates, and then try and prevent, the Ancient One from awakening. There was just so many cards and so much stuff into this game that every game is going to be completely different. So many, there's like probably 40 different investigators, maybe 20 or 30 of the Ancient Ones. I have 2, like the stack of Mythos cards is like this, because I throw them all in together. And so you have, skills that you can get. You have your just a stack of items and unique items and spells and all that. At this point, Eldritch Horror probably has more cards, because they're about to release another expansion for Eldritch. They're done with Arkham, but I don't know. Like Kat loves this game as well, and I think nostalgia does hold a factor for it, because it was one of her first games that she played with me, so she loves it. And I don't know, like, a lot of people say, oh, Arkham Horror is that thing where it's just shit happens and nothing, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a lot of games, first of all. But no, I've had multiple times where I'm playing this game and we have a strategy on what we each need to do and contribute to succeed. And yes, something can come in and disrupt all that, just like anything else, to where you now have to have a new strategy. And I don't know, like, the luck is fine with me. I love that, you know, I have the blessed and cursed dice to where they're different colors, and they have the elder sign on the 4s for blessed and, you know, just on the 6 for cursed. And I don't know, it works extremely well for me, and I have played it a bunch of times in my gaming career. So that's why it's at 14.
All right.
You're gonna hate this next one.
No, actually, this one's actually probably, you're going to talk about this one
Okay.
later. 13 is Blood Rage.
Okay. I have the Kickstarter version.
I had the Kickstarter version. But
and
then,
I just have the broken token insert now too, which is awesome.
Yeah, I had the Kickstarter version, and then when it was going like hotcakes, I sold it for $450.
Damn.
And then I just bought the base box. I mean, because I know I'm not getting all the monsters and stuff like that, but
I think that's okay.
Fun about it.
Yeah.
You know,
the game works perfectly fine.
Wonderful game. I'm a sucker for card drafting.
I am too.
So when you have the card drafting to set up your, you know, whether it's taking stuff away from the person you're passing it to, or going along with your strategy, whether it's Loki's strategy or whatever.
Did I ever tell you that whenever I first played this with the group, I was like, Loki's strategy is so weak, not realizing that that's what I do every game to win. I'm like, yeah, I just, you know, hopefully my people die and get a bunch of points. They're like, yeah, the Loki strategy. I'm like, oh, yes.
But no, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, it's a prototypical Eric Lang game.
Eric Lane.
You know, it's area control, beating the crap out of each other.
Viking theme, which is really good. In an era, Viking I think has finally died off. Now it's Mars.
I hope Mars dies off.
I do too.
Too.
And so with Blood Rage, yeah, I think it's by far the best Viking game out there. It is because you don't have to fight a dumbass. Oh, you can fight a troll, but someone controls the troll.
No. It's not the best Viking game.
It is. Anyway, so Blood Rage, I think it might be CMON or Come On, whatever. Cool Mini or not, probably their best game.
Yeah, I mean it would be pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean there's a few other ones that
I'm curious to hear if you have any other ones, but yeah, Blood Rage, good one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Okay, so this one you've never played. I've talked it up. No one has ever mentioned this, and I don't understand why. But my 13 is not one of, or it might be the very first Kickstarter game I ever got to do on my channel, which is Overlords of Infamy. So Overlords of Infamy is a game where you play as kind of like I cannot think of the word, but the only thing that comes to mind is your Megamind, like that Joker-ish kind of, you know, henchman or villain, the super villain that just does all these. Your Groon or whatever his name is, Guru from Despicable Me. Just you're the super villain that wants to do elaborate things that are just kind of inconveniencing other people. You're not actually going out slaughtering babies or something like that. You're just like, hey, there's no more chocolate in the world. Oh, I hate you. So you're playing one of them, and it's so unique because everyone has their own backstory. One of them is a corgi that got a hold of a artifact that it was like a bone of intelligence or something that allowed him to talk, and he resented his master, so he's like, ah, fuck you. Now he's evil. And so it's a worker placement game. Each player has their own little area of their zone of influence that they place tiles. So you have your workers, so for actions you can place tiles which will allow you to place your workers on to get resources, okay? So pretty much standard, and then once you meet up, because it comes in like a plus sign to where that's shared resources if you have tiles that touch it. Once you both have touched it, that's when you can start fucking with each other, doing acts of espionage to screw over. But you can't just, from the get-go, just target people. You actually have to share a border with them, and then you can only mess with them. Then, right in the middle, there is the Kingdom of Good, which is where the adventuring hero is, which is controlled by all players. At the end of your turn, if if the track ever moves up and hits a certain number, you roll and you move him, and if he lands in a spot, with a tile, he basically cleanses that and clears it. If he lands where someone has workers, he kills them, and the workers are called lackeys. But what brings this game so high for me is that's your standard worker placement, okay? But they threw in such smart humor, and I know the designer. He's an awesome guy. I've got to play games with him at Gen Con, got to meet him at Gen Con. That's pretty much, I just said that. He's an awesome guy. He has a brilliant mind for unique games, and this was their first game that they did. So,
is it out now?
No, I don't know. That's actually, I think, what's hurting it the most. Is I don't know if it's coming to retail.
Gotcha.
Like
so I kickstarted, but no.
It was kickstarted, and yeah, I got my copy this year, and it was one of those games that I was enamored with it whenever I first played the prototype, and I was like, this is a smart, streamlined game, and it's genuinely funny. A lot of games try to be funny, where you're just like, okay, was that cute? Is that supposed to be cute? I don't get the joke here. But there's a lot of references, obscure references as well. That's just like, that's hilarious. The nefarious plots that you're trying to do, there are 3 levels, and some of them are just like make everyone's socks wet or something stupid like that, where it's just like, oh, I hate that. And they get more and more sinister as you do higher level ones, which your plots are how you get your points.
Right.
And so you're sitting there trying to do those plots, and they're just hilarious. And then there's also a big stack of world events that can affect everyone. They're also hilariously titled, and some of them bring in outside elements that will affect the game, which I also like. So if you can find a copy, definitely get it, because I'm tired of being the only one talking about it. So that's my 13.
All right, my number 12 is the best fighting, battle game, in my opinion.
Okay, that's
where you're forced into combat constantly. It's intense.
You're gonna have to say, I'm like, dude,
it's your favorite game in all the world. Commit.
Oh, I was like, what? Gross.
Commit is
not intense.
Awesome. It's
boring.
The best of the Madigo trilogy.
No, it is not.
Mainly because whenever I play a fighting game, battling, whatever you want to call it, there's a tendency a lot of times, especially when you're playing with groups, to turtle. You cannot turtle in this game. You have to fight the entire time. There's no sit back.
The fighting's boring as hell, though.
There's no sitting back. You are just going. I mean, you're just going at each other the whole time. And you're never safe, because a lot of your victory points that you get are temporary victory points. You can lose them at different points. So you have to stay aware of what everybody else has, because you need, I can't remember how many points you need to win, but if they're getting almost right there and they have temporary points, you need to go and take that temple from them, or you need to do whatever to get the temporary points away, because it's a lot easier to get temporary points than it is to get the permanent points. Leveling up this is the one that you have 3 pyramids. You choose 2 of them to start off with. There's the modular expansions that came out as a black pyramid, black stuff, the dark arts.
What is it, crossover between that and Cyclades?
Well, no, this is just by itself. This is the Talsetti expansion there is a crossover.
Well, that was an expansion.
The C3K was the crossover deal, which just lets you use Cyclades monsters and Kemet monsters and Cyclades. So you level up your pyramids, which are huge D4 dice, and then that tells you where you can
buy your
tiles, which give you
some It's not powers. An intuitive game. At least we can agree on that. Is that
I don't know.
You have one fucking pamphlet. Be like, oh, you're new? okay, you're gonna need this all the time.
Oh, I printed them all.
You
out
shouldn't
for
have
everybody.
to though.
Well, no, I just did it automatically. As soon as when I drop this game on the table, everybody has their printouts.
Yeah.
I just toss it to
Yeah,
them,
but I mean,
and it tells you
that's
exactly
fine.
what every tile does.
But that's kind of the same as like a producer releasing a game and be like, oh, by the way, build the components.
Oh.
It's like, isn't that your job? What did I just pay you for?
I know. I mean, that can be said about a crap ton of games.
Oh yeah.
Though.
But here's a game that. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
I don't like this game at all, so I don't want to shit on your list because you.
Well,
really
no,
like it.
it's just one of those things. And like you said, I mean, that could be said about a lot of games. Most games I print out.
Yeah.
The extra deals, so I'm not passing rule books around.
I mean, I can shit on Fantasy Flight all day about their inserts and their lack of storage.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as far as how it goes right now, it's the best war game.
It does. I mean, you're right. It does force you to constantly battle, and that's fine. I think actually Cyclades does the same thing, and Matago does the same, or not Matago, Inish does the same thing.
Yeah,
where
but
you can't.
That's not the main. That's not the main focus of the game. Like Cyclades, it's all about the auctions and
Well, to do your actions,
well,
the area control is to control, the metropolis,
Right.
but that's also temporary, so you fight each other to hold that.
Yeah.
All their games are actually about fighting, almost, at least those
This
three.
was the most fighting.
Yes.
now, and that's what I like.
And
To hell with auctions.
it felt really, especially with Cyclades, auction,
Yeah.
right. No, so with Comet, I remember it could have been, this has been like 3 years since I played that game. I played it as a 2-player game, did not like it, and then someone was like, because I initially put up a video on why I didn't like it, and someone was like, no, you need to play with more. So I took the video off.
Right.
This was, like I said, 3 years ago, and I played with 4. Still didn't work, and
Right.
nothing changed. Because while you're fighting, it's like, okay, that's cool that you are constantly fighting. I just felt it was just a lot of, oh, okay, that was that. I did like the sleight of hand thing where it's like, oh, like if it is intense, you're like, oh my god, okay, I just need this to work. Oh, there's another card.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, did not work for me, but at
Yeah.
12, God, you fucking monster.
Just wait for the next one.
I hate you. My 12 is, oh my god, I thought this was higher. Okay, what's the rest of my list? You have not played this game. You will not like this game because if you think photosynthesis is brain burning, you would probably have a stroke trying to play this game. It's anachrony.
Yeah, I actually would like to try it sometime.
By all, dude.
I'm going on what I've heard on podcasts about how hard it is to pick up like Tricarion and it and stuff, and that's where I'm getting that information from.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they're emphasizing but it is pretty much a lot of, you need to be like 4 or 5 steps ahead of your turn. So Anachrony is a game about the end of the world has come, but you have ways that you can prepare for it by, with time travel technology. It's a worker placement game to where you have your workers in your little faction board that you can do actions with whenever you build buildings that go into your faction. But you also have these exosuits that you put workers in to go do actions on the main board. And so the entire time you are trying to finagle your way to get resources to be able to hire people and to be able to build buildings in your faction to try and be more efficient at getting other resources and doing other actions, as well as get victory points. While you're also trying to, there are ways, it's a really cool mechanic that the round tracker is actually a separate era. So the game lasts 7 eras, and then so you move that up at the end of each round. But at one point in the phase, you can borrow items from the past or the future, and then you get those. And most of the time, you're like, I really need this right now to be able to do what I need to do. But that's negative points if you don't go back and fix it. So you need to build their yellow buildings. Power buildings, power supplies that allow you to go back in time. And once you have the resource, you have to go back and pay it back. But if you borrow a bunch, you have to roll a die each turn for whoever has the most of those tokens there. And that can give you paradoxes, which will cause you to take a anomaly in your building, which is negative points, and also to get rid of it, you have to spend resources and kill a worker. So not only are you doing that, but every time you do actions, most of the time they're going to come back tired, which means you now need water to wake them up. There's Like I just actually just did a run through for this. I just uploaded it. It is my how to play. Like someone actually commented this morning, and he was like, "I watched all of it. You did a really good job." I'm like, "Oh, thank God," because there are half the time it's one of those games where I can't explain something without explaining something else.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, but it ties in so smoothly. It is such a streamlined game, which unfortunately is icon heavy. But I think after one play, the icons are going to make sense.
Yeah.
To where it's like, oh, okay, well, that's just what that means. But trying to teach the game is like, oh boy, all right, because it took an hour to do the video. And it's awesome. Like, we had talked about how it's kind of a guy's game. Like, the cat likes it. But the theme just doesn't work for her, which I'm enamored. I'm like, oh, time travel? Hell yeah! Right. Like it works so well.
I've heard there's been a few games that dealt with time travel, and that one's been the best one.
If I don't know any of the other games.
There's like Chrononauts. And
there's
older ones. I've heard Dice Tower people talk about it.
Okay. But yeah, they did such a good job. The box is, it's stupidly big. Like. If I were to hand you this box, you'd be like, this must be heavy. No, there's like an inlay that everything else.
Do you have the exosuit?
I don't. I could have bought it at Gen Con, because I got this at Gen Con, and I was like, it was like $70 or $80, and I was like, okay, well, I really want it. And he's like, well, I think it would have been like maybe $10 cheaper if I got the expansion, but I was like, well, no, I'll hold off. I regret holding off. It's still on pre-order. I don't know, it hasn't come out yet.
It's been at Miniature Market.
Has it? Oh, fuck, I need to buy it.
Just the core game, I think.
Okay, I meant the expansion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just need the expansion.
Core game.
Yeah, the Exosuit Commander Pack. Here's another thing. The game comes with a bunch of variants as well that you can play the base game and it's going to be awesome, but I feel if you play it a bunch, you'll be like, okay, well, let's try these different. It comes with a solo mode, comes with a Doomsday module, and then just a bunch of other things. So it's amazing. I'm actually surprised it's not higher, so I'm excited to see the rest of my game.
A game like that is the type where, because how long does one round last? Like, if you're going to do one of your eras, would you say it's 20 minutes, maybe? 10. The way I teach games like that, I mean, I know that's really hard, but I'll always go through the first round with everybody, and then just stop, reset. All over, and then they're like, okay, we know what happens in a round.
That's probably definitely
that's a good way to teach those
you can now
just stuff.
Yeah, now I can just be like, hey, watch my hour-long how to play video.
Right, exactly.
The game, the run-through for us took about 2 hours for 7 eras. The game can actually end before 7 eras, so you can potentially cut off 20 minutes.
Because that's what I do on Dinosaur Island.
Oh, really?
It takes like 5 minutes to run through the first round.
Okay.
Then I reset it all and be like, okay,
now we can play.
Everything does. Because it's like 4 little mini games.
Yeah. So anyway. That's Anachrony at my number 12.
All right, my number 11, you don't like. You need to play with more people, and you need to play with the expansions.
you need to basically change the whole game to play Champions of Midgard.
Champions of Midgard. This is the greatest Viking game. Just because
you can't compare them.
The only reason I say that, and true, because Blood Rage was my 13, so there's right there.
Yeah.
That's area control.
Mm-hmm. And card drafting.
And card drafting stuff. This is all dice placement.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more luck in this.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Rage there isn't.
There's
that
like
none.
No, there's none.
There could be a little bit depending on the people, what card they play in the battle and stuff. But I mean, you still have control over what card you're playing. With the expansions, they add some cool little features, So like when you lose your Vikings or dice, there's ways. The Valhalla expansion, as you lose them, you gain little chits of that. And once you have a certain number of those, you can trade those chits in. They automatically gain dice. I think they're coming back.
Oh, okay.
So stuff like that, and it adds another place. There's I think it's called the mountains. Another place you can go. It adds extra colors of dice, so there's archers now and stuff like that. It adds a bunch more monsters overseas that you go for.
Now, were these big box expansions, or were
they were smaller ones?
Okay.
But I went through Kickstarter, and when I did the Kickstarter, there was a level where you got both the expansions and then a oversized box.
To fill it all.
So you take the base, everything out of the base game box that you had, put it in that, and put all the expansions in it.
That's cool.
And everything like that. So I have that now that has everything. And I haven't played with the expansions a ton yet. I think I played with the expansions twice. but everybody I've played this game with, whether it's been 2-player, I've only played 2-player once, but usually it's 4.
Me too.
usually it's 4, 3 or 4 when I play it. And it adds a 5th player as well.
Okay.
In one of the expansions, but it's just a blast. Every game comes down to just, I mean, everybody on a 4-player game, we're like 10 points apart from first to last.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so tight.
You talk about it like I hate it. I don't hate this game. I just
we've
don't
had many,
like that.
We've had many disagreements over that mechanic, but
it's just at this point it's just stupid. Like I don't even care. I don't think it breaks the game at all.
Right.
I'm just like it's just a stupid thematic thing.
I think sometime whenever we need to play a 4-player game, and we need to just try it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
no,
that's
absolutely.
the one thing you dislike about it.
Right, because the dice work replacement
work.
work. I thought that the runes were kind of lame. Like how you got like those those extra points. They were just kind of boring.
They're not that big of a deal though.
Right.
Generally, I mean,
no,
they're
not really.
You know, I think if you go out, you stockpile your workers. The way to win this game is take out those monsters.
Oh,
overseas.
oversee.
You need a bunch of food to feed your people to
To
go
feed
over there.
yours.
Go overseas and kill monsters because they're worth
a lot
of points. I mean, that's.
And if they don't get killed, then they get like a bounty on them.
Well,
so
they
they're
keep
worth
getting
even
more money.
Yep.
The longer they stay out there, the more money's on them and stuff.
Because I was like, hey, can you guys kill those?
Right, and then you also every character gains a leader dice now.
Oh, okay.
One of the expansions, and so it's like you send your leader out there, and it's an extra dice, and and it does extra stuff.
Right.
And it's just great. I love dice placement games, and this one
I do too.
And this one actually makes the dice into character you fight with.
It's not just a number.
So it is. So you're placing meeples. It's worker placement, I guess, more than anything. You're placing them to gain your dice, and then you're using the dice as workers and stuff too.
Okay, that's right. It's not dice placement.
Well, it is to a point where you're placing your fighters. Where at one
point.
Oh,
right. But it's not the same as like Kingsburg.
No.
Frontiers.
No, you're placing your Viking meeples out. Then you're using your dice as either hunters, gatherers, or warriors, and you place them out.
That's
in
right.
that phase, and then
I did like that. Yeah.
So anyway, it's
number 11. That would be our honorable mention for the.
Very awesome.
So my number 11. Okay, it was honorable mention for the top 10, and that is. I don't know what my top 10 is anymore.
Mine will be changed totally.
Oh yeah. So
stuff I played lately.
So this is the best 2-player game. This is what beat out Eleni Tama.
So I can't remember. I remember you talking Raptor.
It was on your top 10.
I remember you talking
stupid rules list. BattleCon Devastation of Endines is
that's a great game. Fun game.
Is the best 2-player game, and I just oh my god, like this, like I mentioned, Adrenaline best first. This is take Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat, all of them, and you have that in this game. They did everything right for this. I know you didn't really care for the way the finishes worked. They changed it.
It wasn't I disliked it. It was just weird.
It is kind of weird.
Sense.
Like I think it was made more as a catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
That hey, you're at 20 health and I'm at 6. Well, okay, let me see if I can pull this off.
Right.
Then it'll lessen it.
Right.
So they did fix it with the expansion.
Oh, okay.
The latest one, kind of how it works. You now have focus tokens that you anyway. So BattleCon is one of those games, kind of level 99, made their own world. So there's lore behind each character, behind why they're fighting. Kind of like it's the same. Like I said, like Mortal Kombat, how it's a fighting game, but there's lore behind each person, and then you have to delve deep into find it. BattleCon does the exact same thing, and you just have so much to this where you have each fighter has their own set of attack cards as well as just basic punch, kick attacks and block and stuff like that. That you combine to do a attack fighting this person, and each character plays different. Unfortunately, I will say at this point, the latest expansion is I think they should be done. Like it's like okay, you're kind of stretching here. They have like 69 fighters, 68 different fighters, and yes, they all fight different. But now with the latest expansion, it's like that one kind of pretty much does the same thing as this one, but. Oh my god, like when Chad brought this over and we were playing, I was just like, this is awesome. And once again, Level 99 makes those games that are really, great and intricate and unique, but they're not intuitive, so it's like very difficult to teach someone how to play.
So, you like the game, you like the world
Yes,
Does
I
the
do.
world really? Have you played Argent, the Consortium?
No, I was gonna back it on Kickstarter, but I pulled out.
It is a wonderful work.
Is it?
Yes,
I
it
think I can still
actually was way down. It might have been way on down like 130s or something.
Oh, really?
When I was making my deal.
Yeah.
I've played it about 4 or 5 times because somebody else has a copy of that.
Uh-huh.
If you like the world, when you're at that college. And
I wish you didn't tell me that because I like I may have to go in and get and do the pre-order for the game.
Yeah,
on
it's
Kickstarter.
wonderful.
Yeah.
If you love the world, you'll absolutely
Well, because they
love
have,
the
you know, Pixel Tactics is in the same world. They have, Argent was in the same Endine's world. And so not only do they have, you know, unique fighters, they also have, like, scenarios that you can do for the fight that is like or not scenarios, arenas that will alter the way the fight can happen. Then there's also, you know, strikers, which are like tag team people that you can summon. I didn't really care for that, but they also have a campaign, but not really a campaign, but a co-op mode where you kind of go through like you like work together, go in and fight the bosses, and you level up. They have armor that you can add in. They just have so much to this game that once just comes with it, and there's expansions, but you don't need to get them. You can just get the base game and be happy with 30 fighters that all fight different. And what's really cool about this is just like a fighting game, is that you can pretty much gauge who you're going to like. And I've played a lot of characters where I'm like, I cannot stand how this person fights. But I can hand it to someone else and they're going to be like, oh, this is right up my alley. But also, it encourages you to play the same fighter and over, because it's how you will play that character is going to be different who you're fighting.
Right.
And like, I can't talk about this anymore because I've pretty much said, hey, fighting video game in a board game, it's amazing. So that is our top 20 to 11. Heading on over to the top 10 games of all time. Hope you're enjoying. Hope this has been an awesome experience for you. But other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you want to support us, you can go ahead and click that link to go to my Patreon account. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below to go to my Board Game Geek list. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.